It's really crazy. You can't even imagine what Lauryn Licari went through when she discovered that the reason behind her trust issues was the person she trusted the most. Our goal is 100,000 subscribers by the end of 2026. If you enjoy our content, please consider subscribing. Your support helps this channel grow and motivates us to keep delivering the best videos possible. Videos that are informative, entertaining, and made with passion. I'm Fact House, and I truly appreciate every single one of you. Because of how unbelievable this case is, Netflix adapted it into a documentary that reveals the truth behind Lauryn Licari's case.
You won't believe who is responsible for turning Lauryn Licari's life into a nightmare. And the most terrifying part? It was someone incredibly close to her. So don't scroll, because the ending of this story is beyond shocking.
It all began in October 2020, when 13-year-old Lauryn Licari, a student at Bell City Junior High in Michigan, United States, began receiving anonymous text messages filled with threats, insults, and false accusations. But behind her daily routine, she was secretly dealing with a situation that many people around her knew nothing about. At first, she thought it was just a cruel prank. But before long, the messages spread to her boyfriend, her friends, and even other people in her community, turning her life into a living nightmare. Amid all the terror Lauryn was experiencing, there was one person who suffered alongside her, her boyfriend, Owen McKenney. Lauryn and Owen were known as a happy teenage couple. They had known each other since middle school, and their relationship seemed like any other young romance, filled with happiness and shared memories. As their relationship grew stronger, their families became close as well. The young couple had no idea who sent the text and tried to forget about it. Then in September 2021, the messages resumed. Day by day, she lost trust in the people around her. Her friendships began to fall apart, and she lived in constant fear, believing someone was relentlessly targeting her. Everyone wanted to know, who could be cruel enough to do this to her? Both of her parents believed that someone was targeting and harassing their daughter. Her mother appeared to be very supportive. She stayed by Lauryn's side, comforted her, and even helped report the case to authorities. To Lauryn, her mother was the person she felt safest turning to for protection. Lauryn's father was also worried about his daughter's safety. He believed their family was being targeted by someone and supported the investigation, hoping the person responsible would be found. Local police tried to identify the person responsible, but they were unsuccessful because the sender used apps that constantly generated new phone numbers and concealed their identity. On September 2021, everything changed. After several months of relative silence, the anonymous messages suddenly returned. But this time, they were far more intense, reaching 40 to 50 messages a day. The messages contained insults, threats, urging her to take her own life, and disturbing personal information that only someone close to them seemed to know. The messages are like, at only 13 years old, Lauryn was already under immense psychological pressure. Every notification on her phone filled her with fear. She was afraid to be alone, no longer felt safe at school, and even in her own home, she constantly feared that someone was watching or targeting her. What made the messages even more unsettling was the use of Lo, Lauryn's private nickname, suggesting that whoever was behind the account had to be someone close. Lauryn and Owen tried to deal with the strange harassment on their own. They began blocking the numbers whenever new messages appeared and tried their best to ignore them, hoping that eventually the person behind the messages would stop. But the messages kept coming. Every time they blocked one number, another seemed to appear. What started as something they hoped would simply disappear was slowly becoming a constant part of their lives. Lauryn and Owen tried to maintain their relationship despite the anonymous messages that kept coming. But over time, the situation gradually put increasing strain on their relationship. In November 2021, after being together for around 2 years, Lauryn and Owen eventually decided to break up. However, their decision to break up didn't make everything stop. They may have hoped that once their relationship ended, the person behind the anonymous messages would finally stop. But the opposite happened. The messages continued to come in. Lauryn began receiving violent messages telling her to end her life because the situation was becoming increasingly concerning. Lauryn's parents ultimately decided to report the incidents to the school. The school began to realize that this was more than just an ordinary conflict. The school authorities took more serious action. They reported the incident to the police for investigation. Then in January 2022, police in Michigan conducted an investigation. The case that initially started with just mysterious messages began to turn into a much more serious investigation. Several students were then questioned. Police tried to match the student statements with the timing and content of the messages they had collected. At first, the investigation pointed towards several students at the school. However, after they were questioned, there was not enough evidence to link them to TH messages. The problem was that the person behind the messages seemed to know how to hide their tracks. The messages were sent from numbers that were difficult to trace, making it challenging for investigators to determine who was actually behind the screen. As the investigation continued, it became increasingly clear that this was more than just a simple case of bullying. Then, in April 2022, authorities turned to the FBI for help in uncovering the person behind the anonymous numbers. One of the officers involved was Bradley Peter, a Bay City Police Department officer who served as a liaison with the FBI during the investigation. And slowly, the digital trail that had remained hidden began pointing toward a location no one expected. Not to a student's home, and not to a stranger. The trail was leading closer and closer to Lauryn's own home.
And kind of cloak her identity or her digital identity. But eventually we were able to see that her IP address was popping in and out right before and right after these messages were going through.
And when investigators finally discovered who was behind the messages, the entire case took a shocking turn, one far more disturbing than anyone could have imagined. That is her own mother, Kendra Licari.
Of cyber stalking her own daughter, the Michigan woman is now facing felony charges, and Trevor Alt is here with more. Trevor,
Crazy that someone that close could do something like that.
This is disgusting.
No way.
I wanted to try to protect her and keep her safe.
In December 2022, the investigation entered a new phase. Police arrived at the Licari family home and began interviewing members of the family one by one. When it was Kendra's turn to be questioned, she appeared surprised and denied any involvement. She tried to convince investigators that she knew nothing about the anonymous messages. However, the police then presented the evidence uncovered by the FBI. The evidence was so compelling that Kendra could no longer deny her involvement.
My number?
Yep. Does it have to do with Owen? Is there an infatuation there with Owen?
No, nothing like that.
Okay, then just tell me what did he treat Lauryn bad? I mean, something serious going on for a while, right?
Yeah, and it didn't start that way.
I'm sure it didn't.
I don't even know.
That's okay. Just start from the beginning. So they were dating, and then they broke up. So how did it really start? Like, why did it start after? Did it start during when they were still dating?
It did.
Was he treating you bad?
But it didn't. The first ones didn't start with me.
Okay.
I will say that those ones were random or whatever.
So somebody else started those. You don't know.
But then I fed off of it. So.
More or less is tacitly admitting that she did it by not denying it, but it wasn't a clear admission of guilt.
Eventually, Kendra admitted to her involvement in the cyberbullying that had been terrorizing Lauryn and the people around her. Lauryn, who was sitting beside her, was shocked to discover that her own mother was behind the cyberbullying directed at her. The person she had trusted and relied on to protect her turned out to be the very person behind the harassment that had kept her living in fear for months. No one would have thought that the person who did it is her own mother, because so far, Kendra has actually appeared to be the person most actively urging the police to find the perpetrator. She repeatedly urged the police to identify whoever was behind the anonymous messages. She revealed that she had experienced a traumatic event at the age of 17. And according to her account, those memories resurfaced when Lauryn began entering adolescence. Kendra said that the changes made her feel afraid and deeply concerned about her daughter. She claimed that she felt the need to protect Lauryn and wanted to keep her safe.
I never want to hurt anyone else like I have already done. I actually look forward to continuing my work and continuing my progress daily. I have caused a lot of damage to my family.
Finally, in March 2023, Kendra Licari pleaded guilty to 2 counts of stalking. 1 month later, on April 26, 2023, a judge in Isabella County Court sentenced Kendra to 18 months in prison. While in prison, Lauryn spoke with her mother every Monday and Wednesday, as she did not want to completely sever ties with her and wanted to mend their relationship. Kendra was finally released from prison on August 8, 2024. And according to reports, she will remain on probation until February 2026, despite having served her sentence. She cannot see her daughter due to the terms of her plea agreement with the public prosecutor's office. She was not permitted to have any physical contact with Lauryn. However, for better or worse, Lauryn still communicated with her via email and text messages. However, another theory makes this case even more difficult to understand. Some people have speculated that Kendra may have had an inappropriate interest in Owen. This theory arose because many of the anonymous messages focused on Lauryn and Owen's relationship, and the attention toward Owen appeared to continue even after the two broke up. What do you think? Are there any other theories?